Alright, so today's video is about helping someone choose the caliber for their first firearm for the purpose of self-defense and protection. The calibers that I'm going to be recommending, or the ones that I'm going to narrow it down to, are calibers that are readily available and are affordable in today's market, which is late 2022. In this video, I'm not talking about which caliber performs better than the other. I'm not comparing calibers. This is simply based on affordability and availability in today's market. And the three types of firearms that I'm going to cover, because these are the firearms that people normally want to buy for the first time. It's always going to be a handgun, a shotgun, or a rifle. So I'm going to name the three best calibers to buy. I'm going to narrow it down to one caliber when it comes down to each type of firearm. So for the handgun, shotgun, and a semi-automatic rifle. And I hope this helps. The year is 2022. Who knows what the new normal prices are going to be with inflation and everything going on. I didn't buy ammo for a really long time, since 2020, but I started slowly buying ammo again. Prices have came down a little bit, but they're still more expensive than what they used to prior to 2020. So hopefully the calibers that I mentioned help you decide or point you in the right direction when purchasing your first firearm, whether it's a handgun, shotgun, or a semi-automatic rifle. If you already have tons of guns and tons of ammo and you just want to watch for fun and give me your opinion down in the comment section, I'd appreciate that too. So the first type of gun, we're going to talk about a handgun. So let's just say you're in the market to buy your first handgun, and there's all these calibers to select from. And when you go to the gun shop, sometimes they try to sell you certain calibers. Who knows what the agenda is? Maybe that gun's been sitting there and it's chambered in an odd caliber. I'm trying to help you choose the right caliber so you're not stuck with an odd caliber. What happens when you choose a firearm that's chambered in an odd caliber? That caliber is not always readily available, and it's most of the time it is super expensive. We're talking about $1 or more per round. So when it comes down to a handgun, the caliber that I recommend, and you can't go wrong with, is going with the 9mm. 9mm Luger. So 9mm is readily available. They offer it even in 1,000 round cases, and that's always a good sign. If the caliber you're choosing, you see a 1,000 round case for sale, that means that there's just plenty of options for that caliber, and it's going to be readily available for the most part at any gun shop or any type of store that sells ammunition, you know, like those Cabela's and Bass Pros and stuff like that. So yeah, when it comes down to a handgun, 9mm, you cannot go wrong with choosing 9mm for your primary handgun. So now, choosing a shotgun. So shotgun, there's also different gauges out there. There's 12, 16, 20 gauge and all that. But the gauge you cannot go wrong with is 12 gauge. 12 gauge is readily available, and you cannot go wrong with 12 gauge. So 12 gauge, they also sell it by the case when it comes down to bird shot, or when it comes down to shot sizes for waterfowl, ducks and geese and stuff like that. They sell it by the case. Bird shot, it's readily available by the case, and you can't go wrong with 12 gauge. There's other gauges out there, but 12 gauge, I mean, when it comes down to shotguns, everything basically revolves around a 12 gauge. And then there's these other calibers or gauges available for shotguns that aren't always readily available, and if they are, there's a few boxes available, and you're paying in some cases probably twice as much. So when you're buying your first shotgun, you can't go wrong with the 12 gauge. So now, rifle. So by rifle, this is the one that's not going to be the most affordable, but I'm still going to go ahead and recommend it because it's readily available. So when it comes down to a semi-automatic rifle, you know, AR, AK type rifles, you cannot go wrong with 5.56 NATO. So 5.56 is readily available. Also, basically the preferred caliber in semi-automatic rifles here in America, and it is readily available. Affordability, AK ammo is cheaper, but in today's market, and it is late 2022, AK ammo is just not readily available. It is cheaper than 5.56, but AK ammo is not readily available, and that's why I still recommend 5.56 over buying an AK as your primary semi-automatic rifle. So when choosing these calibers, in today's market, 2022, availability and affordability is gonna count a lot, especially with inflation going up. Who knows what the new norm as far as ammo prices are gonna be? Who knows? But yeah, if you stick to 9mm for handgun, 5.56 for semi-automatic rifles, and 12 gauge for shotguns, you're gonna get the best deal, and they're gonna be readily available and at any store that sells ammunition. So I hope that helps, and thank you for watching. Stay tuned.